All right, welcome to the Bucks Report post game show. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Buck What You Heard on Twitter. I'm joined by my co-host David Whitescarver. How you doing, man?
I've been better, Gene, but it's great to be here with you. We have a bit to talk about on what we just saw, which I'm still trying to absorb because I don't believe what I just saw.
Yeah, it reminds me of 2019, uh, and that's what I'll say about it. The phone lines are open 813-358-8154. Please meet, if you get a chance to call in, please call in. I would love to hear from you, get your thoughts on the game. To me, poor execution, poor tackling, poor coaching, and there's enough blame to go around for everybody. So there's not going to be that one person,
Hmm.
in my opinion, based on what I saw. It looks like a team that came out flat, and this was the game I expected to see from the uh, the New York Giants versus the Bucs. So it's going to be interesting. What are your thoughts?
Hey, that's exactly what I would say. I was completely shocked. I mean, Tom Brady, well, he used to have over 78% win rate after a loss. I'm thinking you got a bye week. He's 15-4 on a bye after a bye week. That Tom Brady's kind of come out all guns blazing, and the Bucks were just going to steamroll Washington football team, and that didn't happen. Now, credit Washington, but still, the Bucks looked flat, and it was a big disappointment. It was like a dream I couldn't wake up from.
Yeah, and you think that the Buccaneers are going to come back from the bye week, you get some players back healthy, and then you continue on your path. But as Tom Brady goes, the team goes, and what we saw from Tom Brady is not your normal Tom Brady, to be honest.
No, the first interception was the receiver's fault. The second one, Tom Brady telegraphed it and he overthrew it. That was completely on him. So, and I never felt I thought when a game got to 16-13, here we go, but the defense couldn't stop Washington, and it became a huge disappointment and a surprise. I was not expecting this at all. How can you be flat after a bye week and after losing? But apparently they found a way.
Yeah, absolutely. And what were you saying? 10 minutes and 52 seconds on one drive.
Right. The last drive of the game was 80. They got the ball at the 10:55 mark, and they kept it for 10:26, went 80 yards. That's their longest drive of the year. When they went up 6 points early on, that was their largest margin of being ahead for the year. I mean, Washington, this was their game of the year.
Yeah,
I mean, they played like this made their year, and actually, it has up to this point.
Yeah, most definitely. I think I'll give you one of my takeaways, especially on defense, and I'm going to start with defense, and then we'll work our way to offense. Poor tackling. Throughout the game, I saw people tackling high. Nobody was wrapping up. Nobody was getting the legs, getting the player down, and they're throwing shoulders and they're going for big hits, but they're not stopping these players. I mean, there was a play that Shaq Barrett had somebody like 4 yards behind the line, and he ended up getting like 5 more yards. If you're fundamentally sound and you're wrapping up and you're doing what you need to do, that's going to contribute to winning games. It's just fundamentally they just didn't look like they were ready to play. They didn't look like they were ready to show up. I'm going to get to some of these quotes in here as well, because you can tell that the fan base is not happy, with this game either. And for once, it wasn't penalties; it was just poor play. So it wasn't, you didn't see those back breaking penalties, but it was just poor play on both sides of the ball.
Wouldn't have thought I would be saying this after a game against Washington, especially after the playoff game last year. But the Washington football team wanted this game more than the Bucs did. And part of why they weren't wrapping up is they weren't as motivated as Washington. Gibson, down the stretch, he was running the football like he wanted to win this game. The
Right.
Bucs were not able to make stops when they needed to. I mean, they had their long drive of the game at the end of the game when you still had a chance to win.
Yeah, most definitely. So if there's any promise, there's like a plus to this game, or to the what we've been seeing here. I don't know. I don't know what it would really be. Just being the way they played. Um, it looks like New Orleans. It's 20. New Orleans lost. So basically, we're looking at the Bucs are in an okay position right now, losing with the Atlanta Falcons losing, with the Saints losing, and so they didn't lose too much ground in the NFC South, but they
Yeah.
really need to turn it up. I don't know how these injuries are going to affect them. I did see where Vita Vea was injured towards the end of the game. I'm not sure how serious that was.
We'll see. It's not a good situation. D. Delaney left, but he came back into the game, and Jalen Darden, he was hurt as well. The Washington football team, Chase Young went down early with 7 minutes left in the first quarter and never returned, except on the sidelines, basically on crutches. So, but he's the heart and soul of the Washington defense. I guess his presence on the sideline inspired Washington. But the thing that bothers me most is the level of effort and the lack of rhythm and continuity. They look like a team that was disjointed and just coming out of preseason. I mean, I was very disappointed. I thought with the bye week and the loss to the Saints that they were going to come out all guns blazing, and this was going to be what it should have been, a Tampa Bay win, and it didn't happen. When it got to 16-13, I'm thinking, here we go, and it didn't happen. They didn't have it within them, and Washington, to their credit, outplayed them.
Yeah, absolutely. You are live on the Bucs Report post-game show. Who are we talking with?
It's Matt from OKC. How you guys doing?
Hey, Matt. How you doing, man?
Well, how are you doing, Matt? That's the question. How's your TV doing?
I had to put it's the same thing, man, David. I had to put everything away.
Okay.
Third minute of the game.
All right. So your TV was spared at least.
Yeah, because I was shopping for them, and it's just not something I can repair right now. I'm not going to be able to replace it, so I have to grow up and act like an adult. Get fun out.
So, give me your takeaway from the game.
Okay, in the first second possession we had, I could tell we were going to lose. It's that same deflated type of feeling you got from the Saints game. They didn't come in sharp. Brady was putting the ball in people's hands to get paid to catch that ball, and it was shooting through their hands, and it was bouncing off the chest, and it looked like Mahomes in the Super Bowl, where Brady did everything he could do to put the ball on a guy, and that guy wouldn't catch it, just refused to do it. And it was aggravating.
Well, Matt, do you have an idea as to why this happened?
They're not ready for the game. That's the only thing I can come up with. You could tell when we're going to win. You can see it in the swagger on the team. But today and the Saints game before the bye week, you could tell the body language was not the same. And I don't know if it's because AB's out. I don't know if it's because Gronk's out. And maybe that's what needs to fix it. But we've got an awful lot of talent on this team to be doing the stupid stuff that we're doing. And we got beat by a second stringer who's lived on the bench for 3 years. I mean, this is BS.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. Kind of like last year with the Chicago Bears game, and then after the LA Rams game, which were just huge debacles, it seems like the team kind of came together. And I've been saying this for probably the last 3 or 4 games. The Bucs have not had that defining game yet this year. And
no, they haven't.
And again, they've won games that they normally didn't win. This is one of those games they should have won. I would have expected this from the Giants, but not so much from the Washington football team. But hopefully, they can turn it around. There's still games to be played. You still have to factor in the NFC South, the race. And again, this isn't over by any means, but it should be a sense of urgency within this team to, we need to fix some things and we need to get back on track.
They need a Falcons moment like they had last year when they were down 17-0, and then they came out and you could just see it in their eyes. And they didn't lose after that. They need a moment like that. And it certainly wasn't today, but I hope they can find it soon.
Yeah.
But the good news is if Carolina loses tonight, then the whole division lost. So we didn't lose any ground.
But you're losing ground for seeding, though. I mean, the Cardinals are playing the Panthers, so if the Cardinals win, they go to 9-1, and now it's like you might win your division, but you're probably maybe down. You're moving yourself down the ladder as far as seeding goes.
I understand that, but right now, the first thing I was concerned was win the division. Then we get the conference issue. There's so many teams that are ahead of us right now with. Like I said, like Arizona, the Rams are building up their ship. I don't know if it's going to work. It looks like they're doing the Steinbrenner move where they're trying to pack it up for a while.
Well, they lost Robert Woods and they added OBJ, so I think that's a loss when you take the two together.
They brought in OBJ to complement a guy who ends up ruining his season at the same time that he's OBJ signing his contract.
Yeah, Friday in practice, he knee ligament went. So yeah, they're not better off. They're worse off, but they're still going to be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they got the Aaron Donald compliment when they put in Von Miller, but Von Miller's kind of fragile too. He breaks a lot. So I'm not sure.
Is he 100% healthy right now? I don't know that he is.
He came in with a bum ankle. He couldn't play the first week because of a bum ankle. They expect him to be back, I thought today, but I haven't heard if he did or not. I don't even know when the Bronx or the Rams are playing. So
I mean, we're already up.
Oh, real quick, I do have one question. Jim Miller in the chat was asking about play calling, all the dump off passes with the weapons we have. I saw where Mike Evans was targeted like 3 or 4 times throughout the whole game, and
3.
And I
he
just
got a touchdown, he got a miss, and he got the one at the quarter breaker half or whatever with the face mask.
And right before that play, the game discussion was they haven't had a play over 15 yards, and then there was the touchdown pass to Evans. But you're right, they were dinking and dunking it, but they weren't getting downfield. They had crossing routes and dump offs, and that.
The commentators were talking about the fact that they put a shell on the top and they're letting you have the bottom, and Brady will do what the defense allows. So everything was a 2 or 5 yard pass, seemed like, and it was irritating me. But if that's what's available, that's what's available. You saw what happened when he was trying to force it in the first half. He's throwing interceptions all over the place like James Winston. It was pathetic.
Yeah, there was one play, and I don't know if that was a busted, if that was a blown cover, not blown coverage, but it looked like the quarterback and the receiver were not on the same page on a few plays, and again, that's what pretty much led to it pretty much led to Washington doing what they did. Personally,
so how do you come off a bye week? Gene, how do you come off a bye week this unprepared if that's the situation?
Because
they weren't ready to play, and they just been off for 7 or 8 days. So
this is my thing. This is my thing. I still don't think Tampa is realizing they're defending world champions at times because of the way they approach certain games. Every single one of these teams, this is my Super Bowl. We're facing the defending world champions this year.
Exactly.
We're facing Tom Brady. We're going to go in and give 200%. And you see games where these guys come in and give it their all, and then they have a letdown game the next week or whatever. But the Bucs need to realize they're the hunted right now, and any team they face they want to win. They want it more than Tampa does.
Oh, and this was Washington's season. I mean, they had not led by 6 or more points coming into this game. That fourth quarter drive was over 10 minutes. They haven't had a drive that long all year. I mean, they stepped up. This was their season. They wanted to win. They wanted it badly, and the Bucs were kind of going through the motions. You're going to lose in the NFL when you're a defending Super Bowl champ. You're the target,
right? And
but who's the people responsible to get a team ready to play? It doesn't look like they're ready to play. If that's their own personal decision as far as the players are concerned, you'd think they'd have more pride.
And see, this reminds me of that Chicago Bears game last year.
Mm-hmm.
It was the same thing. It was a game the Bucs should have won that game. And this is what this reminds me of. Just, I don't want to say flat or not wanting it as much as the other team, but they just didn't look like they were ready to be out there on the field.
It's like Washington punched them in the mouth and they looked surprised. And it went downhill from there.
He threw 2 interceptions in the what was the first 3 possessions. He threw an interception. One was maybe not his fault, but the second one was overthrowing somebody. He just threw it straight to the defensive back, and that's not Brady. That isn't how he does things, and I don't understand why. All of a sudden, he's gotten to where he doesn't know. Hate to say it, but he just doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. It sometimes.
And see, I go back to that Chicago game. Remember in the fourth quarter, or he didn't know it was 4th down or not. I don't know if you remember that, but
it's hard to forget.
How could everybody knew it but him?
So I'm not giving up hope. This is just a frustrating game, and I'm just irritated by the way this game went. And I think they'll pick it up. I think they'll all come together and get it all together. But I just feel like, right now, this game, they didn't want it.
Not nearly as much as Washington.
Yeah, or not as much as
the Washington team was wanting to win to make space for what happened last year in the playoffs, and to kind of set a marker that if they get to the playoffs again, we can beat you. And they accomplished their mission today, and we didn't. I don't know what I'm without a word on how to explain it. I just don't get it. They came in like
there's a lot of poor execution.
Oh, it was everywhere. It was the kickers. Ray Kennedy's all proud of suck up.
That's my guy.
I've made comments to Rick. Yeah, well, I've said the same thing to Rick. We won a game, but he missed the field goal. And Rick's like, well, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, what is that the only thing you can pick on? Well, today it cost us a damn game.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole different mindset between I need the field goal and I need a touchdown. And
the defense couldn't stop them. They had a 10-minute drive.
Yeah, we gotta address that right there. I mean, 10 minutes.
I mean, Todd Bowles dials something up.
Yeah, it's just I'm speechless. I really am.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, Jim. I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think we're going to go 0 out for the rest of the year. It's just that you'd expect at this point. I was talking about it on our show last night that after the bye week, they've had a chance to get refreshed. The guys are going to come back, and we should get cranking like we did last year at the end of the year. We should start to gel. And it looks to me like in the last 2 games, the opposite is happening. They're missing 2 players on the offense, and still Richard Sherman was out during pregame warmups. He hurt himself. He pulled a calf muscle or something.
Yeah, calf muscle.
Delaney ended up with a concussion protocol. So by the end of the game, we're in the same boat we were in 3 weeks ago when we had nothing in the secondary that was working right.
Yeah.
And what I get to understand with Richard Sherman is why somebody who was not in football shape, he may have been in great shape, but he wasn't in football shape because he got to play it to get in it. And they let him play and play and play basically entire games. And they're like, oh, wow, he got hurt. I wonder how that happened. So I think some of that was mismanagement on the coaching staff.
And Sherman said in an interview before the bye week, he allowed himself to talk himself into playing when his body wasn't prepared for it.
Well, the coaches are there. That's their job to save players from themselves, and they didn't do it. And he got hurt.
Yeah, sometimes, but players know their bodies. Players do, and they're going to try to get out there. He's a veteran, and you kind of have to trust him sometimes. But at the end of the day, hopefully this game was a wake-up call, because just so they know that these teams are all coming for you. Every single team the Bucs are going to face, they are gunning for you. They want to win. And so this is going to be this isn't going to be a cakewalk like everybody thinks it is going through the back end of the season. The Bucs just have to, number one, be healthy, and number two, just kind of try to avoid these turnovers and penalties. And I think if the Bucs played a balanced game, the Bucs win this game. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just we didn't see consistency on both sides of the ball. On
3 sides, special teams, defense, and offense. So I mean, if you're going to screw it up, we screwed it up exactly right. Everybody messed up.
Yeah. There's
So
enough blame for everybody to go around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll come back next week. I don't even know who we're playing next week.
We'll play the Giants on Monday night.
Yeah. Just the Giants.
November 22nd, the Giants.
Yeah, that guy you like so much, the Giants fan, is going to be just happy about that. Oh, Lord. Well, I'm going to let y'all go. I need to have some bourbon instead of coffee for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm doing that. Hey, I appreciate you taking time to call in. Now, this was great of you.
Hey, man, we're 6-3. We're leading the division. It will be okay, and I still stick by them going 12-5 this year. I didn't have stars in my eyes thinking they're only going to have 2 losses or something. It'll be 12-5. They'll win the division, and they'll be ready for the playoffs as long as they're not terribly hurt.
This is true.
Fred Swayze Moore will not agree with you, David. He's the 18-2 now, but he's counting them down, so he's going to have to be 17-3 all of a sudden, which was my number. So anyway, we look at it. Something's going to happen right eventually, but we just didn't bring our chips to the game. It was just not very good.
Well, everybody's got kicking problems. Detroit missed the kick, and now they're still in overtime with the Steelers, 16-16. So, interesting game there.
Again,
but anyway,
I have to check that out.
Hey, thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to have to get on there and hang out with you miscreants again at some point.
Well, we're going to work it out. I'm having technical difficulties on my end on hardware. I'm still trying to get that sorted out, but we're taking little steps. We had 7 people on there last night. We had people from the lobby come in like we would normally do, but instead of doing one at a time, we ended up with 4 in there at once. It was chaos. Absolutely.
Nice.
It was crazy. People just talking, and nobody breathing. Anyway.
They made for a lively discussion.
Oh, it was lively if you could discuss. That was the point. Nobody was discussing. They were just throwing it out. That was kind of nuts. But of those people, they're all unhappy. So it's because of today's outcome.
It's all good, man. As long as the Bucs can get to the playoffs and get to the point where they can defend this Super Bowl, I mean that's kind of what you want.
That's the end game. You just got to get to the party, right?
Yep.
And
there you go.
Anything can happen.
Yep. The season starts all over.
Good afternoon.
Hey, great to hear from you, Matt. Take care in Oklahoma.
Yeah. No. All right.
Stay warm.
Good day. I'm doing my best.
All right.
It's a problem we don't have down here.
It's a problem I don't have. I mean, I'm in shorts right now. Oh my goodness. Is Cam Newton playing?
PJ Walker's the quarterback for the Panthers. I believe Cam's on the roster, but he's not playing. I think the plan was to get him acclimated and throw PJ out there. Something's working. They're up 14-0.
Yeah. This is true. This is crazy.
Week 9 and 10 have been nuts. I still can't believe the Jags held the Bills to not even a touchdown. They scored 0 touchdowns. I still can't get over that one. That was last week.
Unbelievable. This has been that kind of week.
Well, Roethlisberger's not playing for the Steelers, so I think that explains part of that. But still, who figures that?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. If you want to try to call back in, sorry I missed. Just not paying attention to the phones. Phone lines are open, 813-358-8154. Love to hear from you. And I'm sitting here watching the game instead of paying attention like I'm supposed to. So, you know what? Let's do this. I do this every so often on my show. I'm going to try to call back. There's somebody that's definitely tried to call back. Oh, here we go. All right. You are live on Buck What You Heard. Who we talking with?
What up, Gene? How you doing, brother? It's Steve.
Hey, how's it going, man?
What's happening? And you are more than welcome to come back up.
Man, it's been stressful, man. This game right here had me kind of irate.
Oh my God, bro. I'm so mad right now. I'm so mad. And you know what made it worse is, for me anyway, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the Patriots beat the Browns 45-7.
Beat the brakes off of them.
Beat the brakes off of them, bro.
Oh,
was
Cam Newton
ridiculous.
is playing.
I guess he's going to play, huh?
Rutrow,
No,
he scored a touchdown.
I don't know. Oh, yeah, get it, Cam. No,
that's
I
2 TDs for Cam.
I won't keep it going. I just want to say real quick, hey, David, did Rick not show up because he's discussed it too?
He's in therapy and he's being medicated, and we're trying to take care of our brother. He's not looking well.
Yeah, that liquid. We need to get him some more liquid medication. I'm thinking we need to.
Here's a triple. Do they make quadruples?
You know what's funny is last night on our show we were talking, and I was listening to guys like I heard Matt say it was a lot. It was kind of a cluster at times to kind of talk. But one of the cool things, we had a guy from England on the show, Stevie Slick was on. But one of the guys, I think it was AC, who said that AB is just an auxiliary piece. And they were going around I'm like, you guys are out of your mind.
No.
And they were saying this with a straight face.
Yeah, with a straight face. AB is an auxiliary piece. He's a nice to have, but we don't really need him, in other words.
Unbelievable.
Like,
really? Wow.
Out of your mind.
Yeah.
Wow.
They weren't saying get rid of him. It was just more of a matter of they saying he was an auxiliary piece. I said, you do realize he's the leading catcher on the team before he got hurt. That's a little more than an auxiliary piece.
Oh,
I mean, they couldn't throw downfield.
Yeah.
They were keying on Evans, and that second interception of Brady, he was trying to go to Evans, but he overthrew him and he telegraphed it, which is un-Brady-like. I think if you got Gronk and you got AB, you don't see that happening.
Right. And that's we need those guys back.
There were so many things that kind of hurt the team. I think when you lose who was the cornerback that got hurt? I think he actually got hit by Devin White.
D. Delaney went out a couple times, actually.
It was D. Delaney. He got hit by Devin White, his own player. And it was just that type of game where you're just glad it's over. You can put it behind you. Don't bring it up ever again. And I'm not even going to watch the film on this game. This is like the first time, all 22, I'm not even going to turn it on. I'm just going to get ready for Monday. I'm not even trying to look at anything on it right now.
Back in the day, you'd burn film. Now you just hit delete. So.
Now, you mentioned something really smart that I appreciate, brother. This is a great point about how undisciplined our defense is. You just mentioned, I didn't even see that, with Devin White knocked out D. Delaney, right?
Yeah.
D. Delaney hurt him. By the way, when SMB got hurt, that was Winfield.
Yeah.
That jacked up his elbow.
Mm-hmm.
Winfield hit him trying to go in for a tackle when SMB already had the guy.
Yeah.
When Vita Vea got his ankle broke last year, that was White that jacked his ankle up. You know, I love the whole playing with passion. How about play with some sense? I don't give a damn about your passion if you don't have any sense.
Right. You're
Play
exactly right.
Sense. And that's I don't know I don't know. I love Todd Bowles, but bruh, how are you gonna let Washington football team, a team that didn't even have a name?
Well, Steve, I have to go back to the defense not wrapping up. They were tackling high, they weren't tackling low. If you're tackling high on Gibson and you can't get him down, if you get his legs wrapped up, somebody's coming in to help you. Okay. Yes. And I saw that. Yes. I saw that. I don't know how many times where everybody was tackling high. There was one dog pile where everybody was tackling high and his legs were exposed. Nobody was tackling. Nobody was wrapping up around the ankles or anything. And that's when he went into the end zone. I'm telling you, if you wrap up.
Maybe they're worried about that. Maybe they're worried about a penalty or something, or 15 yards for, but I don't know.
I don't know. Cause a friend of mine, his son is playing football right now. And they're making the kids watch rugby and how they tackle in rugby. Mm-hmm. And rugby has the most textbook tackling of the two sports. And you rarely see guys get injured on the level that you do in the NFL. And these guys are playing with less padding or less anything, but they're able to
that's a good point. Yeah.
They're able to fundamentally wrap up and get the person down. That's the most important. That should be more important than being on ESPN or being on the highlights or, or whatever. if you're stopping your guy 5 yards behind the line, it's better than making a hit and letting your guys get 5 yards in front of the line or gain 5 yards. So to me, there's just fundamentals that are being missed here that really need to be addressed.
Yeah. I just hope that Todd Bowles, after this game, we never hear him speak up more than a whisper. I hope he has a lion's voice to yell at these. How are you gonna let Taylor Heineke go on a 10-minute drive?
Again, it goes back to fundamentals. I mean, there were plays where they were rushing and getting first downs. Whereas if they were tackling like they were supposed to, I could promise you they would have got it. They would have got a 3 and out somewhere in that 10-minute span to get the ball back to Tampa. I promise you they would have.
Now, credit Terry McLaurin. He got popped. Terry McLaurin played a great game. He got popped by 2 guys, and he held on to the ball. And again, it goes back to Washington. They wanted to win very badly, and they put the extra effort in.
I agree with Gene. If it's fundamentals, that's coaching.
Yeah.
Teach the guys to tackle lower and teach them how to do it properly. That's ridiculous. These are all professional football players. And trust me, I've noticed this for a while, Gene. I'm with you. I've noticed this terrible tackling on the team. I mean, you got guys who got the quarterback. And by the way, I'm not the only one who's noticed. BA's noticed too. You got guys who got the quarterback dead to rights, including Shaq, and they're tackling them high, and they can't knock them down.
Right.
And then they wonder why, when they tackle them high and they accidentally hit them in the helmet, they're going to continue our penalty.
Right. Ridiculous. Because there were a few times that I saw that I was like, oh man, they're going to throw 15 on this. They're gonna penalize this team some. I'm serious. I can think of about 3 plays that I was like, man, he tackled high. They're gonna throw a penalty for that. They didn't. They let him play, and it's scary. I don't want to see this. You don't want to see this. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's depressing. I'm with you. I'm ready to get over it.
Yep.
I don't know what's going on with Brady. I don't know if him and Giselle have been fighting.
Bro, all I want him to do is just, let's get away from the turnovers and focus on, hitting your open receiver, and the receivers have to catch the ball. They have to catch the ball. I mean, I don't know how else to really put it. I mean, that's your job, is to go out there if you're open to catch the ball if it hits your hand. So I don't know what else you can really do about it.
Just let him know Halloween is over. He doesn't have to pretend to be Jameis Winston anymore. He can go back to being Tom Brady.
So, Steve, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
Hey guys, well, Matt was on earlier. You guys heard we have a show on Saturday night.
Great show, by the way.
9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, brother. It's called Mystery and Mayhem. We're gonna get Gene back on, and David needs to come on too.
Yeah,
because I love David. I love David's sense of humor. So David, you got to join us.
I'm okay.
On the less we'll put regular commenters on.
All right, my friend. Thank you so much.
All right.
Great to hear from you, Steve. Have a great one.
Good job.
All right. Man, this is great. And guys, I'm sorry if I'm missing your calls. Call in right now, and I will do my best to get you on. I do apologize that I've missed some people, but the phone lines are open right now. I'd love to hear from you. It's the bye-week banquet circuit. Mitch. That's pretty good. Ben Parrish, we were just talking about that. Let me get your post, your comment up here. 10-minute offensive drive. What the freak? Defense definitely didn't show up. Again, they just got to get back to the fundamentals. You got to tackle, got to wrap up. Brian, hold on 1 second here. All right, you are live on the post-game show for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who we talking with?
This is Rick. No, I'm not drunk, but I should be.
How are you doing, sir?
Holy crap. Listen, I picked a good game to miss, didn't I? To not be able to be there. Look, here's the bottom line. Everybody needs to recognize this and realize this. We are a good team and nothing more than that until we get our injured players back. And it is what it is. And the big decision coming into the season was expectations, and some of which were unrealistic.
Right.
So, look, They didn't play well today. Let's not. I get it. They did not play well today. We all saw it, and things have better change. But until everybody's back, you can't expect last year until you have the same players from last year. And right now, you're missing some big key players. So, I'm not trying to make excuses at all. I'm just being realistic, I guess, and saying, look, man, when you lose a player like Gronkowski and you lose a player like AB, your defense is injured and you got all this. What do you think's going to happen? Okay, yeah, they got beat.
Yeah,
you guys put it right. You guys put it right. They're playing teams. They're giving their all. And they don't have the same. They don't have what they had last year. Everybody still expects the Super Bowl run. There's not the same guys, and you got guys who weren't on the team. You got guys that they're plugging in. You got all this. But the defense didn't play well. Brady didn't play well. Let's not make any excuses for any of that. They did not play good football today.
right.
But listen, there's a lot of games left, and get those guys healthy and back. Look, I didn't see the final score. Sorry, working today. Did New Orleans lose?
Yes, New Orleans lost.
Okay. All right. So New Orleans lost. The Bucs didn't lose any of their ground that they have in the division because Atlanta got embarrassed. So okay.
But the Panthers are up 14-0 on the Cardinals, believe it or not.
I'm gonna say this, and I agree with you. I totally agree with you. This is a game we should just forget about and move on to the next one. But as I mentioned earlier, I don't know if you heard me. It's all about fundamentals. It's all about catching the ball when it's thrown to you, and it's all about tackling when that player is in your reach, getting a tackle, not hitting him, not trying to get that strip fumble, but wrap them up, and stop the play right there. And you get 3 of those, that means your offense gets the ball back. And that's the most important thing to me, I think, that gets missed.
Well, I think you're absolutely right, but I think we're expecting the solid, great, fundamental play that we got out of the championship team from guys who were practice squad guys last year, and we're on the team that are plug and play guys, and we're like, why aren't you playing with those same great fundamentals? Well, they're not as good.
Yeah,
that's why they were on the practice squad. So.
But I honestly believe
you have to swallow hard and say we're not as good. Okay, we're a good team right now. We're not better than a good team right now. We're a good team, and until we get those guys back, this may be our upside.
Yeah, but keep in mind too, these guys are in the NFL, and they're paid to go out and play. And it's just fundamentals, tackling at the ankles. Move your head to the side, keep your head up, and tackle with your arms and get them down. That's basic. That's Pop Warner. That's Pop Warner. That's Pee Wee League. That's something that should have been instilled in them. I understand getting the big play and trying to get the turnover or whatever. But at the end of the day, when you've got a 10-minute drive, there's no excuse for that. And to me, it's something that should have been, they should have addressed that at some point. Call a timeout if this drive is dragging on, something to where you can break the momentum and get these guys' head back in the game or something.
Yeah. On a positive note, maybe we will, some people might not think this is positive, but on a positive note, maybe this means we'll have Todd Bowles around another year.
Yeah,
I gotta get back to work, but I did want to tell you guys, great show. You guys are doing awesome, and Dave, don't get too comfortable with him.
I'm sorry, is this on? I can't hear you, Rick. What?
Yeah. You're not getting rid of me that easily, brother. All right, listen, guys, have a good one. I gotta run. Thanks, Gene, for letting me have him.
Hey, no problem. Glad you can call in. All right, man, this is great. We're getting some callers in, and we're getting to get some opinions here. This is great. Brian Roy, maybe it's Raw. I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but Brian, can you call back in, please? I would love to talk to you and get your thoughts as well. This is again, I'm watching some of these games, right? I'm watching some of the late games. Seattle 0-0. The Cardinals don't have Kyler Murray and they don't have DeAndre Hopkins. So this is an interesting game. I can't really say this is the real Arizona Cardinals team that, most teams have faced. So again,
And they're split in PJ Walker and Cam Newton. Walker's 4 for 5 for 52, and Newton's 1 for 2 for 2 yards. And he's got a carry for 2 yards. So it's like they're doing a dual quarterback situation.
Oh, this is the New Orleans Saints we're looking at, huh? Where they have what's his name coming in?
Taysom Hill and
Taysom Hill, yeah.
Yeah. So McCaffrey is playing, so
yeah, so that is Christian McCaffrey's back. Okay, so that puts a different complexion on this on that team. So we'll just kind of have
totally different. Yeah, once he went out, that's when they went on their 4-game losing streak. So
exactly.
He makes a difference.
Yeah, most definitely. So final stats here. We've got Leonard Fournette. I was really curious about this, what your thoughts were. Leonard Fournette had 9 targets. Oh, so we got a call here. Let me see who we have here. Okay, you are live on the Buck Report post-game show. Sorry, I'm so used to saying something else. Who are we talking with?
Hey, this is Brian, and you got it right. It's Roy, but I understand that the WA reference there.
So how you doing, sir?
Man, doing good. Lifelong Bucs fan.
Hey, real quick, I do want to thank you for taking time to call in. That means a lot when you're able to do that. So thank you for interacting with us.
Not a problem. Just gonna watch y'all's show after each game and comment here and there, but appreciate the opportunity. But lifelong Bucs fan from Sarasota. I'm up in Georgia now, so it's
enemy territory.
But yeah, that's right. But I guess my thought is, when I watch the Saints game and then again today, I think you guys are spot on with the point of the other teams looking at this as their Super Bowl, and the Bucs walk out and it's just another game for them. It's not playoff intensity. It's not, it's one of 17. And, if we go out here and we win, we win. If we don't, whatever. It looks like that kind of mindset. And the other team's walking out going, this is our Super Bowl. We're going to beat the Super Bowl champion. And I think it leans to everything that we're talking about, whether it's whether it's your receivers, hanging on to a football or, form tackling, or the D-line actually getting a push, to, the intensity of a run, to run, everything. Everything is encapsulated, I think, in that mindset of just walking out there thinking this is our last game of the season. And I think until that is the mindset and they walk out on the field either understanding they own this team, or they walk out understanding, this is a one and done. We either win this or we don't. Until that is the mindset, I think we're going to keep seeing these games where another team just outplays you. They just put more into it. There's more heart. There's more effort. There's more sacrifice. There's every little nuance of the game. So much of it is emotion. So much of it, just committing yourself to a play to make it happen. And if you're looking at it as just another day at work or another day at the office, it's not going to be the same. And I think you're going to get outplayed, and you're probably going to get beat on most Sundays.
100%.
I can guarantee you, a week from tomorrow, when the Giants tee it up with the Bucs, you're going to get the Giants' best game of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, they're coming out. They're coming after him.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And for some reason, whenever we play prime time, we never play well. So,
except for the Super Bowl, the Super Bowl is about as prime time as you can get.
Yeah. NFC Championship game's pretty prime too, but I do understand what you're saying.
But again, I think there's going to be that one game where everybody comes together and they figure it out. They get everything together like they're supposed to. There's too much talent on this team. They played down to the Washington football team today. We saw that with the level of talent they had. They played down to them on both sides of the ball and special teams. And it's something they can't do. That this can't happen anymore moving forward.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And I think they looked at the Saints the same way. I don't think so much the Rams. I think the Rams just had a really good game and took advantage of our secondary. It didn't look like these other two, but I think, I think you're right. And I think it was stated earlier, we're talking about the Falcons game last year and we were down and it was a momentum shift and it changed the rest of the season. I mean, it was the team just entered each game with a different mindset. And that's my point is that I don't think the mindset's there right now. And I love them to death and, sticking with them when they're, 4-12 and we have a Super Bowl last year. Amazing. And, there's too much talent on this team for them to walk out there and put on an effort, that's out there today.
And
that's what I think.
And that's why I'm not all doom and that's why I'm not
right?
all doom and gloom. I know this team can turn it around. We've seen what they can do when they're winning. I just feel like if they're focused, if they're taking care of their responsibility, doing their job, each player doing his job, I think they win games and they win the close games and, they may even blow some teams out. But just the way that they've been playing, I just they don't. Something looks off. I don't know how to really describe it.
But what's funny is if you were to ask us, 3 years ago, the Bucs would irritate us because they would find ways to lose games, but it was still the expectation wasn't that we thought they were going to go out and win every game. It was let's go and get a win. Now we're irritated because we have a Super Bowl team and we expect them to win. And so, I mean, we could be irritated either way, but I'd rather be on this end of the spectrum than where we've been at for 20 years. But,
I never want to go back to those dark times again. Never.
No, we don't. No. Yeah. I definitely not, doom and gloom. I think they're going to finish out and, I'm looking at, they may have another off game here or there, but if they finish 12-5 for our team, for the Bucs, we're top tier. I mean, that's amazing for this franchise, and I think that would carry over. I don't think Brady's gonna just sit on the laurels either. Just his body language today. I mean, it's just not in his nature or his competitive path.
And think about this real quick. David, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're fine.
I want to show you. I want to ask you a question about this. Leonard Fournette gets 9 targets. Mike Evans gets 3. Chris Godwin gets 8. Cameron Brate gets 3. Tyler Johnson gets 5. Jalen Darden gets 2. And Giovanni Bernard, who could be an offensive weapon, only gets 3. Do you, in your opinion, do you think that could be coaching? Do you think that's more, how they're spreading the ball out, or, is it situational football, or what do you see when you see stuff like that?
Well, I tell you, last year, and I'll make a comparison to last year. I think when there was an issue, whether, it was as big, publicized as it was or not, or we made a bigger deal of it. There's an issue between what was the play calling that is coming in from the sideline, and he's getting the play and he's checking his wristband, he's looking at it. There was a change last year where Brady started running. I don't want to say he ran the offense by himself. There was a lot of times where he audibled over those plays. It looks as if, and I know they have a lot of conversation on the sideline. They say they've adjusted their offense. The two biggest things I think are affecting what's going on to your question is one, they do not have that extra deep threat. I mean, AB was the leading receiver.
Right.
Having that streak, when he runs a streak or he makes a play happen, that is, and Gronk. I mean, those are Brady's fail-safes. Those are people he knows that no matter what happens with the rest of the checkdowns or the routes or whatever, he knows that those guys are probably going to make something happen and be open. Right now, they lock down Evans. Godwin's got a hurt foot, so they're not sending him deep. And they're running him with bubble screens and little things like that because they don't want to aggravate, obviously, something that's probably going on there. Why they're not using Bernard more on swings and, get him outside and do a screen, let him run, I don't know. And I don't know why they didn't at least attempt. Put Johnson, run him, run those long routes. Guys are big and tall, and let them run, spread that defense out. But when you're just dumping it, 10 yards, 5 yards, the defense collapses. And it wasn't until, you get all single coverage with Evans that we actually get a decent play. So I don't know. I think it's a combination of just just a fan, but, just looking at he gets the play call, and to me, it doesn't look like Brady's checking anything. He's taking whatever, is given, and he may, make an audible here and there, but it doesn't look the same as the difference last year when it looks like he had enough and was like, I'm going to run this. And nothing on Byron Leftwich or anything like that. But obviously today the offensive scheme didn't work. I mean, what they were doing did not work.
And there were no adjustments.
That's right. You have to have a plan for an adjustment. And I don't know, you abandon the run early because you're down. I don't know. There's a lot of things that you just there's question marks, but Brady not having those, I think that's really hurting. Just his being comfortable in the pocket, and then two, when you get sacked on the was the second drive or got hit, really hard from the backside. That's one thing we know with him, as great as he is. If he gets that pressure and he does not feel comfortable in the pocket, it definitely changes his game. And so I don't know. Maybe they were trying to avoid that. They were worried about Chase Young, worried about some of these other guys coming off the edge and up the middle, and we're trying to exploit, get rid of the ball quick. And I
think you really miss Gronkowski too. You miss AB certainly, but between Gronkowski and AB not being in, that takes a lot. Now you key on Mike Evans. So missing those two takes a lot of his weaponry away.
Yeah, and it does. It hurts. I mean, AB and Gronk are gonna get attention, whether they get a target or not. I mean, we saw that last year with Gronkowski. I mean, it was halfway through the season before he had a touchdown, but he's got somebody on him, and they're looking at him all the time, which means that opens up Brait. It opens up these other guys in the slot. You got AB running down the field. You're not going to let him run, and you're going to swing that safety over. You're going to do something, which opens up Godwin, which opens up Evans. Not having Scotty Miller, I think, hurts too, because you don't have that. You're not worried about some guy running, a 4.240 down your sideline, and you have to pull a safety over, or you get burned like Green Bay did.
Yeah.
So you can tell Washington was not concerned about the deep ball today. They weren't concerned.
No, because there was no threat, and the only one was Evans, and and you see a little bit of an issue there. I mean, Brady sails one, which if he throws a couple of bad passes, I'll take that all day long. Versus somebody who loved throwing to the other team. It's a give and take, and when you're under pressure, he's going to force things. I mean, there was a couple throws that were completed that I was on the edge of my seat going, that's a pick, and somehow it gets in there. I mean, that's Brady. So I'll take definitely the greatness with the little negative that may come with it. But
yeah,
hopefully we get these guys back. I haven't seen the latest on AB. I know it was a high ankle issue, but
those take a long time to heal too.
Yeah, I'd rather let's take our time and don't rush them back like Gronk did and end up with a subsequent. But
Yeah, I
like
know
the other
exactly
callers
what you mean.
said, and I think what you guys pointed to, we're not going to be the team we were. The caller before was saying we're not the team that we're going to be last year until we have the key players that we had last year, and that goes on both sides of the ball right now. Still with so many on the with the defense, our secondary, you got guys playing at probably 60-70% health out there, just because we don't have anybody else to plug in, and then obviously the offensive. So I don't know. We'll move on. I agree. I think Giants are going to come out there, but it is Daniel Jones, so who knows?
Yeah, we made the Bucs made him famous.
Yeah,
so,
well, maybe we make amends for this next week.
Hopefully we can make amends for that. All right. Well, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate this, and hopefully you can call in next week or Monday.
Sure.
As a Monday. All right.
Great talking to you. Thanks for the call.
All right. And again, that phone number 813-358-8154. I think I have time for a couple more calls here.
I mean, it was just an unusual game for Brady. I saw the stat where this is the first time since 2012 that he threw 2 interceptions in the first quarter. That's like almost a decade. I mean, it just, they didn't come out ready to play, and I can't explain it.
Yeah, they just were flat. It's just crazy. All right, so trying to think. Well, I mean, let me get your final thoughts on this game, and I'll let you get back to Sunday. Again, folks, thank you so much for checking us out. This is the post-game show. We will be doing this after every Bucs game, the next Bucs game being a Monday night game versus the New York Football Giants. And I'm sure we'll have hosts there for that show as well. But what are your final thoughts before we roll out of here?
My final thought, if stepping back, you're still dinged up. You've got Gronkowski, you got AB out. The defense is not at full strength. You're 6-3. You're going to stay ahead of the Saints by a full game. This is a good situation. Think back to last year. We were 7-5, down 17-0 the Falcons when everything started to click. I think you get people back. The schedule, it's looking tougher than it did before. Like traveling to Indianapolis doesn't look as clean as it did a month ago. You're in good shape. You're first in your division. You're where you want to be. You're biding your time. You're going to get your people back. You're going to get healthy, and you're going to make another deep run into the playoffs. But it's not going to be a smooth sailing. It's going to be difficult, and everybody's going to punch you in the mouth because this is their big game of the year. Like the Giants are coming out a week from tomorrow, and they're going to give you their best shot. So be ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we got one more caller here. Let's see if we can. All right, you are live on the Bucs Report post-game show. Who are we talking with?
Ernest.
How you doing, sir?
How you doing?
Good.
I got a couple comments.
Absolutely.
Okay, I watched the game. I've been watching the games all year, and I think that it, like you were saying, it just goes back to fundamentals. It's like when the defense is out there, they're grabbing with their hands. They're not tackling.
Right.
It's like, come on, you know what I'm saying? You learn as a young age to wrap up, and especially Devin White. I think Devin White has become a liability to the defense. I know he has this big following, but man, I've been watching him bad, and to me, he really has become a liability. And I think they have to, kind of question that because it's getting carried away. It's just like the middle of the field and the flats are just wide open every time. I mean, how many pass defense can we say that he actually had? Come on, man. You got picked the number 5th pick in the draft. Come on. You got to play like that. Right. I'm just kind of ranting. And yeah. I'll just hang up and let y'all, and I'll listen to y'all.
Just so you know, this is a safe zone. I'll never, you have every right to be frustrated. I mean, I was watching the game too. I saw him take a couple of bad angles that, I felt like he could have done better on. But yeah, I totally get your frustration. You have these expectations of Devin White to do more than what we've seen from him. So I totally get what you're saying. And yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yes, it just becomes frustrating because you're like, come on, bro. How many times you gonna let the quarterback duck up under you because y'all trying to tackle at the neck? I mean, come on, bro.
Yeah.
If you go from the midsection on down, he can't get away.
Exactly.
It's just like
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy to me. I'm like, bro, and then to me, it seems like and plus with our defensive line with Villa, Sue, and Golston, you're supposed to be running free because those guys are playing well. So you playing linebacker. So that means you coming in and cleaning up, and it seems like you just get blocked so easily. Like that last play when they ran the ball in, he was out of position because Levante had to run around him just to try to get even in the play. He's just like, man, it's just so undisciplined. He plays too undisciplined, man. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. Well, hey, hopefully you can call in next week too. I would love to hear from you and get your thoughts on the game after the Bucs play the Giants next week. How about that?
I got you. I will.
All right, my friend. Thanks a lot for calling in.
Thank you for the call.
All right. All right. So I'm glad this is not to be mean, but I'm glad this show is over because I want to put this game and everything associated with this game behind me. So it's kind of where my head is right now.
On to the Giants.
On to the Giants. We got to have amnesia. All right. And guys, for my final thoughts, David, thank you, by the way. I enjoyed working with you, man. And I love your content as well. I will say this. This is not the end of the world. The Bucs are still defending champions. And I really believe until that last game of the season that we haven't seen the best from the Bucs yet. I don't even think we're close to seeing the best from the Bucs yet, but I think we will get there. And so for me, we're week 10, but I think that they can turn this around and put themselves in a position to be a threat and possibly defend the championship because I really don't want the Rams to do that. I would rather just keep it where the Bucs are the only home team that wins at home for the Super Bowl. I think that's kind of special. Let's keep it an exclusive club for just the Bucs.
Absolutely. Great observation.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. And I will let you get back to your day. There's plenty of football going on. Looks like the Carolina Panthers are up 20-0, I believe. Oh my goodness. So enjoy.
I don't know football anymore. It's been great working with you, Gene. I apprate you.
Have a good one.